Hi everybody, welcome back. It's Joe White from Get Life Coaching, and welcome back to day number 5 of the 7-day challenge, The Power of Chunking and Resourcing. I just want to start off by saying truly how honored I am and how much I commend you for being with me here today. Because to get to day 5, you had to get through day 3, and you really had to get through day 4. And it can be tough days. I think anytime we look under the covers, examine what's there, kind of figure out the good, the bad, the ugly, take inventory. It's not always an easy place to be. It doesn't always feel good in the moment, even though it's good for us in the long run. And this is part of the program where a lot of people bail out. They say, you know what, I thought this was going to be this nice, easy 7-day, program you can find on the internet, where I could just make a couple of statements and make a couple of resolutions and set a goal and a few action steps. I didn't know I had to work hard for this. So for returning today, you truly improving your level of commitment, dedication, and also your integrity. And I think as we move forward, you're going to find that these videos are going to get closer to the actual time. Our goal is to do about 5-minute videos. Unfortunately, they tend to stretch on more in Joe's time than actual time. But as we dealt with the area of perception of how we felt, I think you're understanding this is a huge area. We could spend so much time in beliefs, so much time in your values, in your needs, in old limiting beliefs and beliefs that you want to have and things called your identity. And we're really kind of just scratching the surface, hopefully creating this space, some alignment, so that you can continue to grow, whether you come and join us for a breaking through the barrier or coaching, or you go out and you just continue to carry and build that momentum your own way. But as we kind of deal with the procedure, as we shift today and tomorrow, our focus becomes more on what you need to do. How to take this idea, or your primary focus, and put it into a goal. And we're kind of going to actually start reviewing some of your homework. Not your old stuff, don't worry, but tonight's homework or today's homework, depending on when you watch me. Because I kind of want to walk you through and give you some clarification, because really the magic of today is really done with what you create. Creating that action plan, or beginning to, so that in the next day and the days beyond, you can have something that you can pull out and you can follow. Because anytime you set a goal, anytime, you want to make sure that it has a few characteristics. So we're going to use, you might have heard about this, it's pretty well known out there, but it's called a SMART model, or a SMART goal. A SMART is just an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, obtainable, and realistic and timely. SMART. So step number 1 is to take your goal. Maybe you need to rewrite this. Maybe some of you guys have been changing them along, getting more and more defined, more and more refined. That's outstanding. Some people thought they're going to do one thing and realizing it's really what they need to focus on something totally different. That's great too. But the purpose today is to create your goal, okay? And to make sure specific, measurable, obtainable, realistic, and timely. So for example, if you have a goal is I want to lose weight. See, that's not really that specific. You can't measure. And it's not timely. If you say, I want to lose 30 pounds, that becomes very specific, measurable, something you can do, so it's obtainable. Realistic? I don't know, depending on how long you want to do it by. And is it timely? Well, again, there's no time. I want to lose 30 pounds. Or better yet, I am committed to lose 30 pounds by July 1st. 2009. That's specific, that's measurable, that is obtainable, it's realistic, and it's timely. So make sure when you write your goal and type it into your worksheet, your action sheet, make sure that it fits each of those criteria, okay? Now, 2 is self-explanatory. All you're going to do is start from the period where you've achieved your goal. I know it sounds kind of weird. So if your goal was July 1st, you've achieved it, you're going to pretend it's already July 1st. And you're going to look back, kind of like we did with the very first question, thinking it's the end of the year, looking back. I think there's power in thinking of how looking back on how you did something instead of looking forward and thinking, well, how am I going to do this? And then the next step is just going to a system of creating a hierarchy of everything you've done in two, and then building some action steps. So what we're eventually going to get to is create a whole timeline from yesterday to really when you want to achieve your goal and the steps that you need to take and you're going to take to get there. Because the reason why most people fail on their goals, other than limiting beliefs and other things in the area of perception, is that the goal is too big or it seems too unattainable. They don't have an action or a plan to achieve it. So chunking is just a process of breaking down. So if you want to lose 30 pounds, how are you going to do that? You're not going to do it in a day. Maybe you're going to do it by so many pounds each week or a month. Or maybe you got to work out or change your diet or do different types of exercises. So chunking is taking the big thought and making it into digestible, doable steps. And really the other part today is finding resources. Look, I'm a big believer. And I said this in the other days. If somebody is successful, if there is a model of success, it'd be so valuable for you to go out there and study it. And it could be any type of success. I think one of the things I really love doing, whether I'm going to a movie or I'm out at a restaurant or maybe I went to an amusement park, I love studying how an organization, how a system works. And by doing that, I get to learn a lot of things. And something like, wow, I never want to do that. I learn what not to do. But again, become curious and look around you for resources that can help speed up this process. And one of the things that I think is one of the most valuable resources you can have is what we call mastermind. A group of individuals or an individual that can help keep you accountable, bounce ideas off, that can give you some guidance. So whether you're talking about hiring a coach or getting a group of people that have similar interests and goals and getting together once a month and sharing ideas and holding each other accountable, don't go through this alone. You will get where you want to go much faster, much stronger if you have a team. Life is not an individual sport. Even though you're responsible for you, it's your team. At Get Life Coaching, we have our leadership team. And my leadership team is made up of individuals who work with me, who work for me. Some of my clients, some are just people who I really, really admire and respect. And we get together on a regular basis, and they coach me. I tell them my ideas, some of my thoughts, some of my visions, and sometimes they tear it down, or they pull it apart, or they say, no, what about this? And they challenge me. I don't always love the process, but I do love the results. So really, really get connected with the idea of resourcing. And lastly is that you want to take one action again. You notice how each day we're taking more and more action. And we're building upon the success that we had the day before. And today, we're going to take today's information and use it tomorrow to create a dynamic action plan that's going to help you achieve and drive you forward to the attainment of your goal, of your primary focus. And again, this is a process that you can use over and over again. So we're just focusing on one thing in these 7 days. But imagine what else you could do with this type of learning, with this type of system, and these tools. So have a great day of beginning to create your game plan, your action plan to get you where you want to be. So thank you once again for joining me. This is Joe White saying have an outstanding day, and I will see you tomorrow for day number 6.